Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a really fun DIY to share with you. It is a super cute wintry wood slab bottle brush tree centerpiece. I just think it's absolutely adorable, and I decided to add my own little twist by creating sort of a outdoor picnic scene in addition to the bottle brush tree, and I strung it up with some LED lights to really make it just super festive. Originally, I browsed Etsy for a while and sort of agonized over which miniatures to buy for this project because there's so many cute fairy garden accessories. Even looking at some of the shops distracted me for hours and hours and really sidetracked me from the project, so I decided to bust out my sketchbook and sketch out my plan and then go from there instead of looking through what was available on Etsy because I didn't want to just spend forever browsing and not make anything. So I ended up sketching out a design that was more complicated than my finished project, and then when I got the actual wood slab cut, which my mother cut for me with her new chainsaw, it was smaller than I originally predicted, but it ended up being the perfect size. So I downsized the idea, but it still ended up being pretty epic looking, so I'm kind of glad I didn't make the bigger one because I think it might have been almost too much. So I ended up buying this little table from Etsy as well as this little holiday cocoa scene. The table is actually pieces of wood that were cut into these little stubs, and this table, it's a pretty simple concept. I think it could have been DIY'd, but it's always nice to just support those shops that are making these beautiful miniatures, so I have no problem buying some of these accessories because they're so cute. I also got the bottle brush tree on Etsy. I searched for a red one just because I'm really into red and white this year as a color scheme, and I think it's really striking and pretty. So the first thing I did was glue the bark back onto my wood slab because the piece that my mom cut for me wasn't fully dry because it was outdoors. So as these dry, they do crack and change, and the bark had actually morphed a little bit, so I had to kind of crack it and then hot glue it back into place, which was fine. It's a piece of natural material, so you're not going to want to DIY on a surface that you care about getting snags or tears. I have this table runner that I do really like, but I'm not super obsessed with it. It was a piece of discount fabric that I thought just really matched my decor this year, so I've been using it. I'm not going to be heartbroken if it gets a little messy, so just be aware that when you're working with wood and bark, it will definitely snag fabric. So the first thing I did was decide the placement of my objects, the bottle brush tree and the table. I was a bit indecisive, but I learned that things really start moving once you just glue that first piece down, so even though you might be hesitant to make permanent decisions, just go ahead and glue the first piece and then everything else will start falling into place. After I glued down the tree and the table and chairs, I started on the tabletop items, and that's where I made a mistake. The latte or cocoa foam was separate from the glass, so I had to glue it in. I filled the first glass with glue and then it dried before I could shove the foam in. So it kind of ended up looking weird, but lesson learned. Sometimes you learn lessons as you DIY. So the next one I did correctly and the show had to go on. Once the cocos were on the table, I felt like it was really coming together, looking really cute. So the next thing I did was grab some white acrylic paint and just go in with some snow detailing. I tried to get the edges and the bottoms of the furniture so that it looked like some snow had blown up against them. This just kind of gives the vibe that these objects have been there a while and you didn't just glue them down. And then I added some snow to the bottle brush tree, which I think just looks so frosty and magical. I love that look. And then I found one of these little pine cones that my mom also was collecting, these like adorable little pine cones, and added some frosty snow to that as well, and glued that down. And then once those items were in place, I added these little fuzzy pom-poms, and I thought they looked like little snowballs, so I thought that was a cute thing to kind of pile up there on the side. Once the snow and the cocoa and everything was in place, I felt like it was just looking so cute, but of course, one thing was missing, and that is fairy lights. So I got these fairy lights on Amazon. I'll link them down below. They are pretty cute, they're very bright, they are slightly warm tone. So I tucked the light switch under the tree and then sort of loosely wrapped the lights around the tree itself because I didn't want to damage the tree, but also because I knew eventually I'd have to replace this light. Later I would cover the light switch with a little wreath as well. And once it was all wrapped up, that was it. The DIY's done. I think it looks just absolutely magical and adorable, and I think in person it's even more exciting to just have it in the center of a table or under the tree or wherever on your mantle, wherever you want to add a little pop of unexpected festivity. I think people visiting your house, if they see this, will just be like, oh my god, what is that magical little scene? So that's the DIY. It's really just about creating a little scene based on your own creativity. I will also leave links to all the shops I bought the objects from in the description so that you guys can go check them out. So that's it, guys, for this festive centerpiece DIY. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you liked this DIY, be sure to subscribe for more. I have a bunch of more holiday DIYs coming out this week, and I hope you have a very happy holidays.